Okay, welcome to Introducing Chat Stations. My name is Jen Perry. I am the Elementary Social Studies Consultant.
And I am Dina Alexander, the ELL consultant.
So we are so excited to share with you chat stations, and a big shout out to the Cult of Pedagogy. All of this information is linked in the slideshow, which will be in the YouTube video description. So the Cult of Pedagogy has developed chat stations, which discuss prompts that students visit just like stations, but instead of performing a complex task, they just have a quick discussion. Chat stations are incredibly flexible. They can be used for test reviews, for ethical debates, exploring new material, analyzing literature, and they're good for students from K to 12. On top of their flexibility as a cooperative learning tool, chat stations can also dramatically improve post-class discussions because students have fully explored each issue in this less threatening chat station setting. They will be better prepared to participate in a large class discussion, and really chat stations get all students involved. So let's delve a little bit deeper into them. There is an amazing 5-minute video. I have it linked right here. We're going to skip through it. It is in the presentation. It goes over everything you need to know and captures what a chat station is. So watch that.
And so why? Why would a chat station be a valuable tool to use in your classroom? It's some research behind it. First of all, it gets our students moving. It gets them out of their desks and walking around your classrooms and engaging with one another. And that emotional engagement allows them to invest into their learning. And if they're more invested into their learning, then we are increasing the buy-in, we are increasing the connections that our students are making to the content that we are displaying for them. And then it creates that connections between themselves as peers and connections with the content area that you are displaying in your chat station as well. And so if students are more engaged, and we know the research behind the brain, when we have the students are more engaged, hands-on learning, then there's more retention of information and easier to recall. And so some considerations to keep in mind when having those chat stations. Smaller groups will allow for more discussion opportunities. And so students are able to take those risks and engage in small group settings. They create random groups. So when you're creating the groups, keep them random. So don't have the students pick their partners, but you intentionally choose the students. And that way you're being very intentional and explicit in the types of conversation that you want the students to engage in. You're holding the students accountable by having them write down some evidence of their conversation as well. Set a timer for about 5 minutes to keep the movement going and to keep the students engaged in the lesson. Have extra chat stations around the room in case they are needed. Have a wrap-up station that allows students opportunity to reflect back. And then whatever evidence they write on templates, the many templates that you can provide them with if you choose to, that could be your assessment. Or for you as a teacher walking around and getting that formative feedback from your students as to how they're engaging in their stations. It's recommended to have at least 6 stations. And if you need to duplicate the stations, then that's absolutely fine. You can duplicate the stations.
So there's so many ideas for chat stations. They're really endless. Some general ideas would just be having some images or an object to introduce a new topic. Quotes are always great. Using graphs or charts or infographics. For social studies, once again, images, finding newspaper articles, captions, maps, quotes. Chat stations are ideal for debates or discussing controversial issues, true or false statements. In art, you can display different types of art or even different artwork from one artist and have great conversations. For ELAL, you can introduce a novel this way. So before reading, during or after reading, connect quotations at each station. You can have your students give you ideas for chat stations as well. Math talks, Our district has many amazing math talks that are developed monthly. You can print off some of them. Graphs and charts are great. Which one doesn't belong? Incorporating real life math examples or finding the error. There's really an endless amount of ideas that you can use for chat stations.
I like the idea of bringing in an artifact. And we talk about having Realia available for students where they can touch the object and engage in the object. That's a wonderful opportunity also to include that.
Exactly. Also thinking about some thinking routines and how they can be incorporated with chat stations. A big one in elementary right now is I wonder this reminds me of. So you can have artifacts or images and set up at different chat stations and allow students just to use that thinking routine that they are already becoming comfortable with. These thinking routines are from Project Zero. There's a whole bunch of them and they're organized by category based on where you are in your lessons or how you want to meet your students where they're at. And they are developed by Harvard. These were some that I thought would work well with the chat station.
Mm-hmm. So I mentioned earlier that using a template. And so if students are walking around and they're being like researchers, they're recording the evidence, show evidence of their conversations for the different chat stations. These templates can be pre-printed. There are hundreds of different types of templates that you can download, and we will share in our resource page later on in this presentation, a website that will support you with that. But it just can be quite informal as well, where you could take a piece of paper and fold it up into boxes and students can record that, their evidence and their conversations and their key vocabulary in this template. Now, when you're introducing this template, of course, we're modeling how to use this template. We're doing the I do, the we do, and then the you do. And then we're scaffolding it. We're including those UDL strategies for some of our learners, whether they're EALs or they're learners who have learning needs. We are including some visuals possibly. Maybe we're including some vocabulary. Maybe we're including some sentence starters for them if they're writing an opinion piece in there. Whatever the needs of your students are, make it flexible. This is where you can differentiate it for your students in order to support them in collecting that evidence.
And in our presentation, we have a link to how you could differentiate one of these chat stations note taker. There's a plethora of resources. Here's some useful links, including, as I mentioned, the Cult of Pedagogy. There has been a built out grade 5 and 6 chat station and a grade 4 one. More chat stations to come, and we'd also love for you as you develop them and even having your students develop their own chat stations. If you could share some of the successes, and we can also share them with other colleagues. Here's a few other examples. This is just a math chat station. This might be something you already have in your room, but just having that small group could provide a great chat station.
And if you check the core elementary newsletter, you'll find other opportunities where you can take those math talks and turn them into math stations.
Exactly. So they're ready to go. This one is specifically for grade 4, but it could be used. You can see how it allows for differentiation with some visuals.
And maps. Reading
yes.
map skills is wonderful for our students to have.
This one is a question chart. It's also linked in this presentation, and you can include it with any image or any artifact, and it gets students really developing their questions. And also, as a teacher, you could be maybe with some of your diverse learners, you can start with the low-level questions to support them in their chat conversations as well. So that's kind of our little wrap up of an introduction to chat stations. We hope you dive a little bit deeper, and we can't wait to see what you're doing with your students.
Thank you for joining us.